All right. Good morning, Miami Dolphin fans, and welcome to On the Clock, Miami Dolphins weekly draft show here on FTSN. I'm Bobby Finstock, joined always by Coach Vogel and Wingate. Wingate's not here today. He had some stuff come up, but Coach and I are eager to get started, and we got plenty to talk about in regards to the draft. Tell you, I am rolling around, chugging, whatever you want to call it. If you, I don't know what the saying for a train is, Coach, but on watching film and taking notes and just loving what I'm seeing right now. I'm in your bread and butter, and that's offensive line with getting a chance to see, Calvin Banks and Cameron Williams and I forgot. I don't know how to say his last name, but Savanoia from that kid. Jonas of Savanoia. I don't know, but either way, I'm deep into offensive line right now. About to get into offensive
I'm gonna go ahead. Yeah, I'm gonna apologize ahead of time. We got to get the.
Say what? His coach's internet is bugging again. It looks like
whacked out. Yeah.
May have to go audio. May have to turn off the Wi-Fi and go off the 5G. We'll see. We'll see as Coach goes and tries to fix what's going on there. But as we wait on Coach Vogel and to get into the draft, we're going to be looking at a few things here. We're going to talk about the Dolphins draft history with and their strategy with Chris Grier, how he approached the draft and went through it. Talk about what he needs to do to evolve it and update it so Miami could be more successful moving forward. And then also there was a lot of talk yesterday on Fitz Talk today in the comments about drafting best player available versus team need, drafting a team need at pick 13 and beyond. I want to talk about that with Coach and his mindset on that. We're going to look at the history of pick 13 just in regards of the NFL. And then we'll talk about the Dolphins draft history and then any players that have caught our eyes as we've started this process out before we get to around the league. But Coach, are you with us?
I am. I think so. Can you hear me now?
I hear you good, man. Yeah. What were you saying there?
Live in the living color.
Yeah.
Okay.
What were you saying before you got cut off?
Oh, I was just apologizing that my internet's all whacked out and all that other stuff. But yeah, I'm trying to get deep into this offensive line class, especially interior line, because the two that we have.
Yep.
Just I know we've kind of got things broken down the way we're going to do it, but just briefly, when you look at some of the offensive line that we've drafted and then either traded away or not re-signed, it just is irritating.
Yep.
I understand when you look back at like the Laramie Tunsil. Oh, we got all these draft picks for Laramie Tunsil, but in the grand scheme of things, we're still looking for anchors for the offensive line, and we haven't gotten any further than the first round of the playoffs. So it's like,
yeah.
When you and then not signing Robert Hunt, like those are huge bookends, or if the left side of your line is automatically much healthier. I've a huge fan of Armstead, but he for whatever reason can't seem to stay healthy. And that's the one thing about Chris Grier I don't like, is him taking all these chances on injured players and then giving them 1-year deals or whatever, or 2-year deals. And then it doesn't seem like it's working, that method. So I think there needs to be a real come to Jesus meeting between the GM and the head coach. And they need to build a team that's built for the cold weather, because you're going to have to go to either Buffalo or Kansas City for the next however many years. They're not going anywhere. So,
Yeah.
the high flying offense was fun and cool for the last 2 years. But when you have a quarterback that can't stay healthy, then that's another. Now you've got to find a reliable backup that can give you, maybe. I don't know if you want somebody that will give you the same game that Tua gives, or do you know, and this is me just kind of playing off of what I saw happen in Notre Dame this year, is that um uh now why am I not Leonard, right? The quarterback. Um he is very Josh Allen light right now. He has some of the same issues where he's not as precise with the football, but damn, when he runs the ball, they didn't stop him very very often. You go for a quarterback like that as a backup that can kind of give you a different element to your game if something happens to Tua. Like, it's something to, and I know I just said him because I watched Notre Dame games, however many games they played this year, close to 16 it felt like. But like Jackson Dart, he's another one that brings the mobile aspect to it. So there's definitely options out there, and I don't know that I want to go with a backup that's been in the league forever. I'd like to be younger in that category, and then just get some linemen that aren't injured that we can, that we can build around and build a more aggressive. I like to call it bully ball.
Yeah.
In that frame of mind.
Shout out to those who are tuning in right now. We got everybody coming in now. Appreciate you all watching, or you're tuning into On the Clock, the Miami Dolphins Weekly Draft Show here on FTSN. Armando says he loves the Wake Forest shirt, Coach. Scotty says good morning. He says the issue was not re-signing Hunt. He goes, I don't think any of us want to pay $20 million a year average. The issue was replacing him with Eichenberg. And then finally he asks, what is your guys' preference? And I'll let Coach answer that first. But what is your guys' preference? A mobile quarterback that looks to run, or a big body pocket passer?
I mean, ideally, if you can find another Josh Allen in there, that's both.
Exactly.
I definitely want somebody that's a good thrower of the football, but you have to have somebody that, if the whole, how many times the hole open wide for Tua, and he takes off, and everybody in the stadium and everybody watching TV holds their breath praying that he slides.
Yep.
Even if he slides, it doesn't mean he's not going to get hurt, because there's people, all these D linemen that are hitting the guys regardless. So I just want somebody ultimately that is that can move around in the pocket, and then if they need to take off with their legs, they can take off with their legs. And if they get hit, they're not gonna have punctured lungs or head injuries or whatever. Like, that's part of my issue.
That is why, for me, when I released, as you know, Coach, we're working on the draft guide as we're doing our scouting and everything. You got to take a peek at that. I did release my way too early mock draft during the week last week. And for QB, in the first round, 13, I took Mason Graham, or I plugged him in at 13.
Yeah.
Round 2, at 48, there was no one there at that point for me to feel comfortable with O-line, because that's automatically where you go and look.
Right,
for me, I went Milroe out of Alabama. And the reason why I went Milroe out of Alabama was the athleticism, the ability to extend the play. He is a raw talent. There's stuff you got to work on with him, but he has the arm. And again, you're not looking to plug him in right away to be the starter. You're looking to plug him in, develop him. And if and when, it's not or when, it's if and when Tua goes down, you have a guy who could come in, and you get to see, okay, could he be the guy? Okay, no. All right, we know who our backup is. Next year we could attack if we need to go get another quarterback.
Right.
But for me, I think Tyler Huntley, in the short amount of time that he was here, or it played as the starter for Miami, shown what a quarterback who could be mobile and extend plays could be beneficial to Miami, especially if you have a quarterback who, like you said, every time he runs, even when he slides, and it could be just the most little thing, you're holding your breath. You go, oh, because you don't know if that hit is going to be the hit that sets him out.
Yeah. Just waiting to see how he reacts when he gets back up. Is he limping? Is he holding something? Like, yeah. And, we can debate this forever and all the people that hate Tua and this and that, but he's ours. For right now, he's ours until they either trade him away or he retires.
And that's why we're looking at QB2.
That's right.
And I'm not saying it doesn't have to be a Lamar-esque type quarterback.
Right.
It needs to be a guy who can move around the pocket, could extend a play, that if when the pocket breaks down, he can go get you 10, 15 yards and protects himself. And when he gets hit, can get back up and keep going. Guys get hurt all the time. You're not going to get somebody who's invincible, but someone who's not made out of fiberglass. We got to find someone who could take a hit and get up. There, Sea Devil says it there. QB didn't need to be able to escape pressure on occasion. Curtis Wark, what I've seen from him, I've liked. I do like from Indiana. I think that's a good name for some point in the mid round of the draft. Allen is a mobile. He calls his own number. Yeah, that's right. But let's do this.
Rourke is probably not as mobile, but he definitely he's accurate. So that's kind of brings that Tua element to it. But he's definitely one that I've had my eyes. I watched a lot of IU football this year too. So
where is it here? Yeah, I had a good one. I had a good grade on Curtis so far. Again, I go 3 rounds with different sets, but my first grade was really good on Curtis. I liked what I saw from him. Out of Indiana. But let's take a look, Coach, very quick at the draft history for the Miami Dolphins, and with Chris Greer, who's been in charge, and just kind of, we don't have to go too deep into it, but just to just kind of go over, and it's kind of crazy to look at some of these guys that are successful but not on the team, or on the team but not successful, and just kind of go with it. And that it starts off with 2016 when he was the GM. Now, full disclosure, in 2016, that draft is debatable because Tannenbaum was the VP of football operations, and most believe that Tannenbaum handled the 2016 draft, possibly the 17 draft. So we are, but still, we're going to look at that because Chris Greer was the GM. And in this draft, the 2016 draft, was Laramie Tunsil. We know that story, how that happened. Xavier Howard, Kenyon Drake, Leonte Carew, Jakeem Grant, Jordan Lucas, Brandon Dowdy, the quarterback, and Thomas DRT, the tight end. If you look at especially the first 3, and of course you had Jakeem Grant as well, and was a solid pickup. Tunsil was very successful, was great with Miami, started as guard, moved to tackle. He's what you want in an offensive lineman, versatile. You can move him around, but he was a very good left tackle. But you ended up trading him for a buttload of draft picks, and he's a successful tackle in Houston now. Xavier Howard, so far, has played his whole career in Miami. Was a ball hawk, led the league in interceptions at one point. Kenyon Drake, I think everybody. I loved Kenyon Drake, he was very good for us. He had the miracle in Miami, and then, of course, Jakeem Grant. All 4 of these guys no longer there. Then you go to the 2017 draft, and this one is possibly the very first one he had full control. And that one is, and Daniel, welcome. Daniel says Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel are dead man walking. There's no way they're using second round pick on QBs. First off, I'm not a fan of speaking in absolutes. Their feet on the fire. Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel not having a legitimate backup QB, whether that was a veteran or a rookie, is what's gotten them in this position. Because if they would have had an adequate backup QB situation, they may have won more games and not been in the mess they're in. So I think that if there's a quarterback there that's sitting there in round 2 that could help this football team, because your quarterback cannot last a season. He's played 13 games his first 2 years, an average of 13 game seasons. Then he played a full season. Then he only played 11 games this year.
Yeah.
You need a QB2. And if that's in the draft, you're going to get him and pick 2. I agree with round 1. I highly unlikely they're going to take quarterback in round 1, but QB in round 2, don't sleep on that.
Yeah.
Do you agree, Coach? To me, I don't think
I do. Yeah, okay. I do. Unless something insane happened, like a Shador Sanders falling to 13 and he's in your lap, like, that's a decent talent. And I'm not saying that, he's, when I graded him last year, before the season he had this year, it was a 3rd round grade. But, I think you have to look to, either player of need that falls in your lap that you weren't expecting, or offensive line. But I do think that backup quarterback has got to be high on the radar, and it needs to be, if you're going to go via the draft, then it needs to be, second or 3rd round if at all possible. I'm falling all over the place. Hold on a second. There we go. All right. Are you muted? Did I lose my volume? For nothing. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, I can. Yes, I do. I hear you.
All right.
Okay.
Good. All right. Sorry. Thank you, Scotty. Thank you, Coach. I didn't even realize that. So, what I was going to say, we got Coach back on here. Well, let's jump into the 2017 draft, which is the one that's considered Greer's first draft in control. And that one was his first pick, of course, famously, is Charles Harris, the linebacker, edge rusher, and ended up not working out for Miami. He was a bust. This could have been the TJ Watt pick, or just about anyone else, but he ended up taking Charles Harris, and we know what happened there. Take linebacker Waquan McMillan. He was okay, was never really great, was just there. He still plays in the NFL today, but not for Miami. Gloria Tankersley, the corner. Again, very similar to what Cam Smith has done in Miami. Nothing since being drafted. Guard, here's a guard, finally, another offensive. Isaac Isiauto lasted only 1 year with Miami and 1 more in the NFL before leaving it all behind. Devin Gotcha, the defensive lineman. Vincent Taylor, defensive tackle, 2 tackles there. And then Isaiah Ford. And, we know he's had been off and on with Miami ever since. The 2018 draft, really looking back at it, that was a monster class and could have been a monster class if these guys were still in Miami. But I think there's only 2 guys on that draft class that's still on the Dolphins roster. First off, their first pick in that draft was Minkah Fitzpatrick. Minkah, Pro Bowl safety, wanted out of Miami, wanted away from Flores, got traded to Pittsburgh. This was and then of course that was during the what do you call it, the tank for Tua year. Mike Gesicki,
the tank.
Jerome Baker, Durham Smythe, Kellen Balaj, Cornell Armstrong, corner, Quentin Poling, linebacker, and Jason Sanders, the kicker.
Hey, Jason Sanders.
He had had a successful career dropped off a little bit one year. Everybody's like, "Oh, gotta cut him. He's terrible." Blah, blah, blah. I said, "Dude, give it time. Give it time. It happens. It spurts." And look what he did this year. I mean, and I just, he won us some games this year, no doubt. 2019 draft. Christian Wilkins, Michael Dieter, guard, Andrew Van Ginkel, linebacker, Isaiah Prince, tackle, Chandler Cox, running back, lasted only 1 year in the NFL, Myles Gaskin, running back. The 2020, the infamous 2020 NFL draft for Miami. 3 first-round picks in the first round for Miami. The first one, Tua Tagovailoa, 5th overall. Dolphin fans will argue forever. What it should have been Justin Herbert, should have been Jordan Love, is what it is. Then Austin Jackson, serviceable right tackle. He has been serviceable. He's not terrible. He's been decent. He's done his job. But still. Noah Igbenogany was the last first-round pick, which will live in infamy.
Playing for Washington now.
Hey, you know what? He's had some good ones there, and he's in the NFC Championship game. So shout out to Noah Igbenogany.
That's right, in the NFC Championship game.
And Robert Hunt, we know what happened there. Raekwon Davis, Brandon Jones, Solomon Kinley, Jason Strawbridge, defensive end, Curtis Weaver, defensive end, Blake Ferguson, still on the team. He's our long snapper, but he's been on IR. And then Malcolm Perry. Then the 2001 draft class, at least on paper, looks like it was Grier's best. Jalen Waddle, Jalen Phillips, Javon Holland, Eichenberg, Hunter Long, Linnell Coleman, and Gerard Dokes. I mean, the first 3 are on the money there. I mean, we're still seeing just Javon Holland re-signed. All these guys, we know that Waddle's been extended, but he's kind of taken a step back. But there you go. And then the 2022 draft, that's when it started to fall off for Chris Grier. Channing Tindall, linebacker, Eazy-E, Cameron Good, Skylar Thompson in the 7th round.
I don't understand. Like, it just, at no point in time are there any notable names, that landed in Miami. Like, I understand.
We know, like, I know, it's always like, looking back, we should have done, but you got to know, but it's also like, no, there are players at that point, even when you're sitting there and you're looking and going, oh, get this guy. And then they draft this other guy and you're like, why? And you're like, okay, well, they're paid the big bucks. Hopefully they're smarter than me. And then you find out, no, they're not. That's what pisses me off, because, Channing Tindall's been on this roster forever, but he's nothing. He hasn't done anything,
How do you hold on to Tyndall, but not Van Ginkel? Like, that's what I don't understand. Like, if you have your druthers, like, I understand Van Ginkel would have been a pretty penny, but like, he performs, whereas the other fella is just blows my mind. It blows my mind.
We know about
since we've been doing, since we've been doing this show, and we've been doing our own scouting and stuff, and seeing like all these players that Miami could have, and then like you see where they're at right now. Like Fisk is balling out in LA, and some of these other people that we were high on, and you're just like, I don't understand. I don't understand what you're seeing and what we're seeing, and how they're not matching up.
Exactly.
But whatever.
When I see Braden Fisk sitting there, and I'm like, oh, but I'm very happy for Chop, man, and I like Chop coming in.
Chop has performed. I will agree. Chop has performed.
He's up for Rookie of the Year on defense with Braden Fisk. So, and Verse, and so shout out. The last year's class, not this current one that we just, or in the 23 draft, that ended up with Cam Smith, who went on 2 IR stints since he started. was in the doghouse for Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio does not look like he's in the wrong right now. Inconsistent, takes too many risks on the field. Devon Achane is our best player coming out of that draft and our most consistent player in offense.
Yep.
So that's a great pick. Elijah Higgins, wide receiver, couldn't make the roster, and Ryan Hayes, he's on the practice squad currently. This year's past draft, Chop Robinson, who's up for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Patrick Paul, again, a project left tackle, supposed to be the heir apparent at left tackle for Armstead. Jalen Wright, running back. We wait to see what happens there. Mo Kamara, edge rusher, defensive lineman. Malik Washington really showed, especially with that pick, played up to his pick and better. McMorris, the safety, and then Taj Washington, who ended up going to the IR. He couldn't make it out of camp, got injured during camp. So those are the drafts for Miami. And I mean, and I'm with you. You're looking at those and you're kind of like, damn, there are some decent guys. There are some decent players. There are some good players. You look at Devon Achane and, Malik Washington or Chop Robinson and, you go Jalen Waddle, Jalen Phillips, Javon Holland, and, that's not bad, but it's the other picks where you kind of go like the Cam Smith pick. I remember looking and going, why? Yeah. Why do we go Cam Smith there? Right. There were other players. Like I can understand going defensive back, but Cam Smith, Manzano asks, Coach, would you rather have a D tackle or edge rusher at 13?
I kind of come from the school of thought that you can never have enough edge rushers. But I do feel like they hit a home run with Chop Robinson. And Sealer's playing out of his mind on defense. I mean, you definitely want to strengthen that side of the ball, going to defensive tackle or edge rusher. But at the same time, like, is Patrick Paul gonna pan out at left tackle, or do we go left tackle? Somebody at left tackle if one of the good ones fall to you at 13, like, I don't know. There's so many needs. Or do you do the kid from Penn State, the tight end that that could do a lot of different things. It could help us in many different areas. Having a big bodied tight end and somebody that can block. I think that would be in play too.
Scotty, you're not wrong. Half the fan base. I remember, dude, we were doing the live draft show, live coverage, and when they picked Chop Robinson, there were some Dolphin fans who were blasting that move. And hey, there were Dolphin fans on while during the season who were like, "Oh, he was a bust. He's a bust. He's a bust." And I'm like, "Dude, stop. Wait."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No, I know you're not saying you guys. I'm just saying, I'm with you. I get it. For me, again, for Anthony, who again I appreciate always watching and participating in the comments. In regards of D tackle or edge rusher, depends on who's there. Again, I would tell you right now, other than quarterback, punter, kicker, I would not sleep at any position at pick 13. Now, something crazy could happen, like Cam Ward, Shadir Sanders, and again, I have my own thoughts on Shadir Sanders, but I can understand that if that comes into play, then you have to have a conversation. But other than quarterback, punter, kicker, I'm not sleeping in any position at pick 13. Pick 13. What if Mason Graham is sitting there? That's a hard pass when you could pair him up with Zach Sealer. Edge rusher, Abdul Carter out of Penn State. If he's sitting there at 13,
dude, he wreaked havoc on Notre Dame in that semi-championship game with one arm. Like he was a one-arm band. Like he was legit hurt, and yeah, the Penn State is producing some stud edge rushers and defensive tackles, man. That they're rolling over there. That dude's a stud. He really is.
And I will say, Scotty, or Sea Devil, for us, the good thing for us is we can't say, "Oh, we were banging the table," and you're like,
Yeah.
no, you didn't. Well, we have, if we got film on us, so you know what I mean. You could go back and watch the episode and go, "Oh, look, they actually did it," or "No, they never did." He
Yeah.
said they was trash.
Yeah.
That's the thing
Yeah.
about us. Anybody could say it when they're in the living room, not doing. We what do I call the coach? They got receipts on us because we're live.
Yeah. Yeah. We're on film. We're on film
Yeah,
saying, "Hey,
like Braden Fisk. I was all, that dude was my dude, man. I know. I'm just saying that's what's crazy about us because people go, "Oh, you're just saying that now." It's like, dude,
no,
I got to be.
you were legit."
We're on it.
How
We've
did
been
LA? I
watching
want
it.
to know how LA ended up with him and Verse. Like, just the two of the guys that we were high on. Those two guys end up in Los Angeles.
And this is
amazing to me.
And this is why too, like, you're all good. You're good, C-Devil. I'm not saying, but Scotty says, he still gets crap for supporting Patrick Paul. Look, I know a lot of people. I heard from a lot of people who do other shows on different channels and everything else. That were like, "Oh, Bobby, I just don't like this pick." They could have gone here, there. Look, he's a raw prospect. He was a raw prospect. We all know that, but at the same time, though, you saw the upside, and he was in a prime position to learn from one of the best tackles in football in Terran Armstead. That's why, like, again, you got to sleep at left tackle or a tackle in round one? No, you can't sleep on that. But you look, if you see Calvin Banks sitting there out of Texas at pick 13, I'm hard pressed to go guard at pick 13, but you go if you got Calvin Banks out of Texas, and let's say none of those other guys are there, or just that's a talent around you go, man, I really want to solve my offensive line. Okay, you could go the tackle out of Texas, Calvin Banks, because guess what? You could still keep Patrick Paul at left tackle, let him develop. You got your young left tackle, and now guess what? You could kick out Calvin Banks to left guard, or kick him out to guard and Austin Jackson here. And guess what? Now, and with Aaron Brewer, and now you got a very young offensive line. You got a veteran at center, a veteran at right tackle. Now you got to look at the right guard spot. So I don't hate it whatsoever. Manzano, Bobby, if Mason Graham, Abdul Carter, Malachi Starks, or Tyler Warren is there, who do you choose? That is a pickle. A pickle. But for me, again, like in my very first mock, right now, Anthony, and as we go deeper and deeper and we watch more film and me, Coach Wingate, conversate and discuss our what we're looking at. Right now, for me, I would go. Man, the thing is, if Calais Campbell retires, you want to be able to plug and play someone right away next to Zach Sealer. And Zach Sealer is young enough that he could play with this guy forever. So you think Mason Graham is a pretty good pick at that point to plug and play next to Zach Sealer. And Mason Graham is top 10 pick or top 10 talent. Abdul Carter, here's this scenario, right? You go, man, we got Chop Robinson, we got Jalen Phillips. Mo Kamara is a project pick. We know the upside, but we don't know what it's going to end up being. But if you look at it, Jalen Phillips, maybe Agba, Bradley Chubb, possibly if he restructures, Chop Robinson, you're looking, damn. But I'm with Coach. You can never have enough edge rushers. And if Abdul Carter is sitting there, that's BPA.
Yeah.
You're getting yourself a monster, and that makes it flexible. Now, if you restructure, think about that rotation of Chop, Abdul Carter, Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, or Agba. Think about that rotation at edge rusher with Zach Sealer and whoever's plugged in at D tackle.
Yep.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
But
and I think kind of what we did last year is we have these shows dedicated just to that type of scenario, right? Like as we get close to the draft, we'll actually have those episodes where like, okay, Bobby, you got this person, this person, this person. You're the GM. Which one are you taking?
We did that last year.
Yeah, those are the conversations we like. Those are the conversations that we'll actually have on camera and taking input from you guys as well. So
let's look. I want to take a look at some before we move forward, because I want to talk about, because I saw a lot of comments yesterday when I was on with Fish Tank Hank on Fitz Talk today about drafting BPA, which is kind of what Anthony with that comment, but drafting BPA, best player available, compared to team need at pick 13 and beyond. I want to talk about that and what coaches' preferences are and how that could come into play depending on what the situation is. And then, but let's look at a history of pick 13 right now. Okay. This pick here is there's been a lot of good successful picks at pick 13. This is a lucky number 13. And you could come away with a very good player. But it was crazy reading this. But anyway, here we go. This is all for this. We're gonna go back. We'll just go back until I stop. But Brock Bowers last year.
Yep.
I mean, Brock Bowers
Stud.
out of Georgia, pick 13 for the Raiders. He has shown, it was easy for the Raiders to get rid of Devontae Adams because of the talent and the weapon they had with Brock Bowers. He is everything as advertised for the Raiders. For the Pack, in 2023, Lucas Van Ness for Green Bay.
Yeah.
Jordan Davis for the Eagles in 22. And 21, the Chargers took Rashawn Slater, offensive lineman.
Yep.
In 2020, the Buccaneers took Tristan Wirfs, offensive tackle.
Yep.
Dolphins had pick 13 in 2019, and they took Christian Wilkins.
Yeah.
The Commanders took in 2018 took Deron Payne at D tackle. The Cardinals in 2017 took Hassan Reddick. Miami again in 2016 had a 13th pick. They took Laramie Tunsil. So think about that. Tunsil and Christian Wilkins both times.
Yep.
Andres Pete, offensive tackle for the Saints in 2015. The Rams took Aaron Donald in 2014.
Oh.
The Jets in 2012, 2013 took Sheldon Richardson. You just take a look back here at some other names without, Brandon Graham, Brian Arakpo, Jonathan Stewart, the running back, Dante Stallworth, John Abraham. I mean, those are some pretty big deal names, on that.
I think when you get to pick 13 and 14, I feel like you're in a good spot because all those quarterback heavy need teams and offensive tackle need teams have already picked, and so you're going to be sitting with a lot of good opportunities, a lot of good selections. You just read 13. I think pick 13 and 14 are kind of the ideal situation to be sitting if you're not one of those specific need teams. It'll be interesting as we get kind of the start getting our ratings and stuff out. What I'm hearing that it's a very again defensive tackles, a very deep draft.
Yep.
And that kid from Ohio State, that 33, he wreaked havoc on Notre Dame. He did himself well in that. He'll go high too. I can't remember what his name is off the top of my head, but yeah, he's a stud. But yeah, I think where we're sitting at 13 is a good spot to get best player available. Is it too high to draft a guard? Right? Everybody keeps talking about this book or that book, and draft value and draft. I don't know. That for me, that never ever made sense. I am very much the Dan Campbell philosophy in my head that if there's a stud guard there that I like a lot, I'm going to take him at 13 because I think he's plug and play and he can have a long career. He doesn't. Dan Campbell and the Lions don't wait around. Now, granted, I don't know what happened last week. It looked like my quarterback, my QB1, went haywire on the Lions last week, but he turned that program around in a short amount of time. So, that's my draft. My draft strategy is I'm taking who I feel is if I have a right tackle and left tackle and I need a guard and he's there, then take him. That's just me though. I'm not I'm
Yeah,
not the
well,
GM
let's
of the
say,
Dolphins.
again, I haven't dived deep into guards enough to say, like, right now, of like, hard pressed, like Calvin Banks, you can put him
Yeah,
tackle and guard, you could go that route. Now, yesterday we were doing the simulator with Fish Tank, and Tyler Booker, Alabama guard, went a couple picks ahead of Miami.
yeah,
So again, really, it's in the eye of the beholder, right? And
right.
that's my thing.
Yeah,
If you look at a guard like just to sneak a peek here, with our grades, I saw the other day because Coach, I've been, let me just show everybody of like, this is
yeah.
all
All
notes and
notes.
draft the positions and grades, and I'm in the middle offensive line right now, so I'm plugging these numbers in so the guys could see, and and then they could get their stuff going. And this, what's really cool about the formula for that Wingate has, is that it tells us, okay, this is the grade number that you gave them. Here's the round that you're projecting them in. And
Yep,
sometimes
yep,
you go, man, I got a high grade on them, and you're like early second round. I'm like, damn, I thought, but I like it, I love it. But I'm looking at it, and right now the guys haven't put their numbers in, and life is busy, and I get it. But I see, just talking about guard, Coach,
yeah,
Wingate had a 6.9 a first round grade on Tate Rutledge out of Georgia,
yeah.
and I saw Rutledge while I was going through like the simulators, and then I was
Right.
reading and I was researching before I started scouting. And when I was reading up on him, I'm like, this dude's a beast.
Yeah,
So I haven't got to watching his film yet, so that's why I haven't said. Well, but that gives me some cause to pause, and gives me
yeah,
intrigued, where I'm like, okay, I'm going to look more into it. There's a lot of, obviously Donovan Jackson, Rutledge, Tyler Booker out of Alabama. There's
yep,
other guys there. But yeah, there you go. Tate Rutledge. If for instance, you got a first round grade on a guy, now your BPA doesn't have to be the same as the other guy's BPA.
right, right,
Right?
right,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? It's what
Exactly.
people say.
Yeah,
Oh, how did you draft this guy? He had a third round grade on him. In your opinion, or whoever's thing you're reading his opinion, I had a
yeah,
first round grade on this guy. That's where it comes
right.
into play. So I get it, and I'm with you. But to me, go offensive lineman. That's how I say it. I usually put OL. I'll put
Yeah,
offensive lineman. And the
yeah,
reason
yeah,
why, now, if they're stuck at tackle or stuck at guard, you can't move them around, then you put them at you determine at that point. But if he's an offensive lineman who's
right,
versatile, then he's at play at that pick, in my
right.
opinion. Joshua Gate, brother, do not worry. It's totally okay. He got,
Yeah,
you got sidetracked with the wife, and it's
that's
all right.
fine.
We missed you, man. I really wanted to hear with him with Tate Rutledge, because I know that I saw his number and I was like, dude, I want to hear this, but we'll
Yeah,
catch it on the flip side. Let's see here. But we talked about it. Best player available compared to team need. Right now, I did see it in there. I think Miami, especially at pick 13, you could still go team, get a team, fill a team need by going BPA.
yeah,
But really, Miami, even though there's some positions you go, oh, they don't need nobody there. Here's the thing. It's always about who's behind there too. And is the guy
right.
there
Yeah,
worth keeping in the future? So that's
right.
why for me, I don't sleep on any position not getting picked other than quarterback, punter, kicker. And and Coach brought it up. What if one of those top quarterbacks is sitting there? Now you got to have a conversation.
Yeah,
And but best player available, I think, is the most likely, or I think would be the best option. You go get
yeah,
yourself that BPA blue chip player, an elite talent. I don't care what position he's in, whether that's
yeah,
an Abdul Carter at edge rusher, I'm forgetting his name right now, the linebacker out of Georgia. I think it was Georgia.
yeah,
Uh, um, offensive line, tight end, and everybody brings up Tyler Warren, and I love it. And I have a first round grade on Tyler, but I'm telling you right now,
yeah,
the one guy out of Bowling Green, guys, Harold Fannin Jr. I got Braden Fisk vibes out of him, dude. I like this kid so far. Harold Fannin Jr. out of Bowling Green, the tight end. Do not sleep on this kid. Love this kid coming out, coach, as I've been looking and watching here. But yeah, BPA at 13 should be the route to go, especially at that pick. We've seen it's the lucky number 13. You've seen the players that have been drafted from that pick. You know, you don't want to go, Starks, Carter, Graham, McMillan out of Arizona, Warren. You look at all these guys and you go, Donovan Jackson. You know, or then you're like, dude. Hey, there you go. Miami scouted Georgia more than any other NFL team this year. Interesting spot right there. Hey, that linebacker out of Georgia, man. Could he be the guy? I mean, he's a stud, no doubt. You know, and my linebacker, don't sleep on it.
Yeah.
Yes. What I saw, he can. Yeah. He's a willing blocker. He's tough. But he's also a very good wide receiver. I like what I've seen from him, man. Daniel, go get some. If you got a chance, if you can, don't, you know how it is, brother. Don't try to look at highlights. Just watch him, and you let me know. I like what I've seen, and we'll go back. You know how it is. We watch a set of films, and then we'll talk about it, and maybe coach will say, "Hey, Bobby, this is what I saw from him," and let me go back, and then I look and I try to see what coach saw, and then we kind of keep going. We'll go first, second, third rounds of watching these guys, but I love what I saw from him. But let's see. We get on here. Yeah, BPA in first round for me, and then you could go team need as it goes along, and building that up. But I get what coach is saying. If you see a guy that's there, even if he's offensive guard, you get him if that's your guy. Coach, have you had a chance to watch any film yet, or is there any guy that's caught your eye this week that you didn't talk about last week?
Honestly, there's a quarterback that plays in Canada that is getting, I can't remember his name, but he's getting all kinds of love and supposed to be I think he's supposed to be at the Senior Bowl. So I'm interested to get a little bit more, get more tape and stuff on him. No, I've just started watching the offensive linemen. Hopefully, in about 2.5 weeks, my schedule right now, we're going like 3 girls games a week and trying to make up for all these snow days and stuff that we've missed. So it's been a little crazy over here, but I'm going to dive in deep.
No worries, man. Like I said, I brought up Harold Fannin from Bowling Green, the tight end. I'm going to butcher his name, but Jonah Savanoia, offensive tackle, someone who's jumped out at me. Calvin Banks is another one. Ryan Mullen out of West Virginia, you could plug him, versatile. I love versatile guys on offensive line.
The other thing is for those of you watching, if you are into the draft process, February hits the big all-star, the bowls, right? So like the Senior Bowl will be coming up, and then I know they have a couple different other bowls that kids get invited to, usually on ESPN. So check those out if you can watch film on those guys too. That's usually where I find my sleepers. The guys that go to the North Dakota States and the South Dakota States that get an opportunity to play in like the Senior Bowl and some of these other bowl games. That's a good watch. And then obviously, we have the Caddies cut-ups that we get all our information from. So
shout out to Caddies cut-ups, man. They provide great stuff.
Yeah, he's phenomenal.
So yeah, for me again, those guys there. Let's see. I want to make sure if I have it in front of me here. Yeah, Harold Fannin, really liked what I saw for Tyler Warren. I loved what I saw. He's my highest grade. Aronde Gadsden, play receiver and tight end.
I do want to watch. I do want to watch Aron. I'm excited to watch Aronde Gadsden.
Yeah, I liked what I saw from him. Who is it? Trey Harris was a receiver who got a second round grade from me. I really like what I saw early on from him. But those are some of the guys that jumped up. Let's do this, Coach. So we got 10 minutes.
Okay.
Let us go ahead and take a look at the draft. We're going to open up a simulator here, and I want to see how kind of it plays out, and whether going BPA or need here. And we won't go crazy with it or anything like that. I almost want to select the, because, we'll let it play out, because it's crazy how everything could turn out for in number 13 or beyond. What happens with the first couple picks in this draft? Tennessee, they got Mike Bergonzi, and he says, we're not going to pass up on a generational player. Love Cam Ward. Is he generational? I wouldn't say that. I think generational is too big of a word. But you think about it, okay, who's generational? Is that Travis Hunter? Is that Abdul Carter? Is that Ashton Genty? And then at that point, what if they go that route? Guess what? Now your quarterbacks are getting pushed down. So, you got Cleveland, Giants, Raiders. Do they go get quarterback? And now when when those guys start picking quarterbacks, guess what that means? A lot of that elite talent is falling now, and they're going to be available at that pick. So it's very interesting how the draft could play out. And Miami's sitting there at 13 going, holy crap, we got a guy who should not be here. And Miami could either, of course, just get him, which is great.
Right.
Or they take the phone, they answer the phone. Oh, what? You want to send me your first round pick in 2 seconds? Okay, yeah, let's do it. Yeah. And they make the move. So let's go ahead and let's take a look. It's not really the mock draft simulator type of situation, but we'll kind of play it between you and me here and take it easy. But
let's just see what happens.
See what goes down. And let's see. So we're gonna get Miami here and do it. So
wow. Oh, they went Shador first.
All right, and so
pick 13.
Yeah, Graham went 3, Hunter went 4, Carter went 8, McMillan went 10, Genty went to the Cowboys. So Miami at this point, with the who they have, they've gotten Jalen Walker out of Georgia, Cameron Williams out of Texas. You got Tyler Booker, Alabama. There's your Tyler Warren, Will Campbell, LSU. Calvin Banks is there too. Luther Burden, who I will say, he is not a big-bodied wide receiver out of Missouri, 5'11", 208. I know that's going to, make people go, but I will tell you he plays bigger than that. And he reminds me a little bit of Anquan Bolden. I like what I see from Luther Burden, so I do not hate that pick if it was the pick. But here, these options here, Coach, are not bad deals.
No, they're not. Both of the offensive tackles that I've watched are available. Tyler Warren's available. Booker, the guard's available. Like there's a lot there to be enamored with. Scorton, the edge rusher from Texas A&M, and I have a feeling that the Colts are very, very, very high on Tyler Warren. My brother-in-law is a Colts fan and follows them, and they're wanting a tight end. So I would not be surprised to see them go with a tight end. Or do they draft? Do they not draft, but do they trade up to try and get him?
Absolutely. Do they think, hey, Miami, I know you, what can we give you just to jump? And then, because there are teams that if the player loves them that much, they'll jump up just one spot, and what can you get there? In this one, you got Cincinnati, just looking at it, just the trade simulator. Cincinnati saying, hey, we will give you, we'll move down a few spots from 13 to 17. You could trade way up from 98 to 49.
That's what, mid second there, 47.
Yeah. You got Arizona doing the same thing, and Washington. So either of those trades, in my opinion, especially with what's available, would not be a bad deal to make.
Right.
And again, if Indianapolis jumps Miami and takes Warren, that pushes one of these guys down.
Yeah.
Right. Think about that. Abdul Carter, falls down. McMillan falls down. Genty falls down. Will Johnson falls down. So, you want that in that scenario, even though Tyler Warren is an awesome pick, even for
Right.
Miami with Jonnu Smith. You want
Yeah.
teams to trade up, because if they trade up,
Right.
whether it's for a quarterback or for a position that, you wouldn't mind grabbing, but really it's like we could wait on, that pushes one of these guys down. Can you imagine a McMillan sitting there at 13?
Yeah.
Or Genty or Carter? And I'm saying Genty because I don't hate Genty. I mean, premier talent, we know what Achane is, but again, there's other needs, but Genty to me is legit. There's other running backs though that we can talk about, and we will. But just say that's what's great about a possible trade up ahead. It could push one of these guys down,
Yeah.
and then Miami has more guys to look at. But Coach, if this was your decision, I'll tell you mine. But if this was your decision, where are you going here?
It would be really, really hard for me to pass on offensive guard or offensive tackle. I mean, especially with Banks and Campbell both on the board. Whoo! Wow, that's hard to pass on. I'm not sure which. That's when I'm getting in the draft room with my boys and saying, who do you guys like? But I mean, if we're saying that guard's a need and we're for sure there, I would go guard, but that's me.
So
I know everybody else is going to want to go like tackle, but
well, I'm going to tell you, you can kill two birds with one stone here, because again, we know what Miami has in Patrick Paul. We know that that's the heir apparent, but we don't know what he could end up being. He could struggle and whatever, and we got to live with that. So if in this scenario here, you could go Tyler Booker, but because he's a guard, and you look at that side, 6'5", 352, beast,
352, yeah,
beast. But I'm looking at this and I'm going, okay, well, why don't we kill two birds with one stone here? You get Calvin Banks Jr. out of Texas. You can move, you can plug him in at guard. You're set there. Guess what? You start to see a couple games in, or maybe in preseason, that Patrick Paul is just not the guy, and you could plug Calvin Banks at left tackle, and you're set. So I think if you go Calvin Banks here, you get yourself a guard or a tackle. So maybe in this scenario, that's where we'll roll. If you're
when I say it's that, it's what you've already said, Bobby. Like when I say offensive line, it's that, like, can we play a tackle at guard for the time being, unless needed otherwise. So
So at 48 now, you got yourself a guard tackle. All right, now you're looking at this scenario here. Again, defensive line, safety, edge rusher. What happens with Tyreek Hill's situation? Here's Jack Sawyer sitting there.
Jack Sawyer
I mean,
is
that would
a
be
beast.
That would be a tough pass for me.
It would.
I know some people brought up JT. His partner there, Trey Harris. I really like what I saw to Trey Harris, the receiver out of Ole Miss.
Yeah. How tall is he?
Trey Harris is 6'2", 205 here.
Not bad. I want that big. I want a big one. I want a 6'5". I want a.
And you know what? Again, that you look at Aronde later on, but I'll tell you this: he plays big. He plays big. I like what I saw to Trey Harris, but I'm cool because right now, when I'm looking at this, and Caleb Johnson, the running back, you talking about a thumper. Dwayne Walker, Kentucky defensive tackle. Depending what goes on with Calais Campbell, I wouldn't hate a Jack Sawyer here.
Yeah, I would agree.
Just me.
That dude, I I liked him better than his teammate, but look, both of them played very, very well against Notre Dame. But I think I prefer Sawyer. I think he kind of hits. Who is the line? Wasn't there a linebacker from Iowa last year that we were high on?
Yeah,
Captain
what's
Jack.
his name? Jack Campbell.
Wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, Jack Campbell. That I was big on.
All right, and we go here. And you got Shamir Turner, D tackle, sitting there for Texas A&M. Alfred Collins, that's a big dude.
Yeah.
6'6", 320. I mean, we kind of hoping. I know a lot of people are high on
Bobby,
Will Howard.
This is where you would. I was going to say this is where you could go quarterback. Will Howard. Will Howard was a mobile, being able to move around quarterback. If that's the route you wanted to go, but they say Kyle McCord.
Heard a lot about Kyle McCord recently.
Right. Yeah. Now the Senior Bowl, I think Riley Leonard and Will Howard. I think those two were definitely being in the Senior Bowl. Which charger? My phone charger for a few more minutes. Yeah, but I mean, we don't have to do that in this one. I'm just curious. I like to see who's available.
Well, yeah, and again,
Howard Cross played well at Notre Dame, the defensive tackle. Alfred Collins for Texas.
Yeah, that dude's big, man. Alfred Collins, catch my eye. Damien says draft Shamir Turner, D tackle out of Texas A&M.
Yeah, I wouldn't be upset with that.
I think D tackle is a position here where you get, because even if Calais Campbell was to come back, he'll eventually leave, and you can have that set up.
Right.
Milrow, again, Milrow is a guy I would get. I don't think he's there though. Milrow is not on the board. Let us do this. Let us go get, because it's coach's guy. He's watching him. Let's get Howard Cross, D tackle. We'll fill that D tackle need. Let's do that. Arande just went off the board.
All right.
I saw that. But you look here. We look at QB. All right, we're still good. Probably look at that 135 pick, and you probably get a quarterback there.
What do you have as wide receiver? What are we looking at wide receiver?
So one of the guys that I took in my mock with my last pick, but he's there at 153 here, is Nick Nash. He's a big-bodied wide receiver. I think he's 6'5". I think.
Is he the one that I've heard a lot about that had like really, really good stats, and apparently like wasn't he like whatever the wide receiver award is?
So he is 6'3", 195.
Year, first team.
Yeah, he has to add some weight, but he is 6'3", 195. So he has the size on him in regards to height. Yeah, he had 104 receptions, 1,300, almost 1,400 yards, 16 touchdowns. So he's projected to go at 153. Yeah. So we could probably wait on a pick for him. Yeah. This is one I like. Ollie Gordon, running back, 6'2", 225.
Oh, yeah.
I like him a lot.
Yep.
I like Ollie a lot, man. And Raheem Mozart, Wilson out the door. We need a thumper. He offers a little more than that. To pair him with Devon Aitchen and Jalen Wright. I would love to get an Ollie Gordon here at this pick.
Yep, go for it.
You got that 135 now. And let me see something. Is it one? Oh, perfect. Okay, so 135. Let's see if your dude is there. Yeah, we got Kyle McCord still there. Do you think quarterback's the pick here? Or would you like to...
I think this is where they're going to start going, and you've got a couple. I mean, you've got a couple that I like there. Not one that we would have to have.
For me, Kyle McCord, I like what I've seen from Dillon Gabriel when I've watched him. Again, his size is underwhelming, but his poise.
So
go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you look at like Riley Leonard is like 6'5", 220. I think they said he looks much bigger on the field. Yeah, they don't have it on there right now. And like Curtis Rourke, I think is a little bit bigger.
Yes.
If I expect a quarterback to sit in the pocket, I want somebody that's much bigger than Tua, because I think it's hard for him to sit in the pocket and go through progressions.
So we could wait on quarterback here because the guys we're talking about, they could probably go a little bit later. You know, again, McCord will probably be picked after this pick, maybe. And then we know Leonard will be there. Work might be there. So let's look at what we have so far. Calvin Banks, offensive lineman out of Texas. Edge rusher Jack Sawyer. D lineman Howard Cross. Running back Ollie Gordon. So, excuse me. Nick Nash is the receiver that we might be looking at. Let's see.
Offensive guard, defensive tackle, safety, offensive tackle, edge. I mean, Elijah Roberts from SMU is there at 125.
Danny Stutzman, Oklahoma linebackers there.
Yep.
We could add a linebacker here and fill that thing since we did take.
Yeah.
We did take Howard Cross. I think linebacker's a good pickup here.
I agree.
And in regards of safety, and safety is absolutely in play. If you look at safety, there's no one at this point here you can grab. There are guys you get later on. There's guys you get early. I mean, again, obviously Malachi Starks in the first round, Sebastian Castro in the third round, maybe, but we'll see. But I think we're good with, let's go with linebacker here. We'll get Danny Stutzman.
Yep.
And now we're at 151. And 151, and there's Kyle McCord. He's there in the lineup here. We talked about size and what matters. They don't have his size here, but polished pocket QB. Here, look at this. Curtis Rourke, 6'5", 223. Dude has an arm, man. He has an arm.
Yeah.
He jumps out at me.
I would honestly, for real though, if we ended up with Curtis Rourke as a quarterback on Miami, I would be ecstatic. I watched several IU games this year, and I fell in love with him. He does a lot of good things.
We could go Luke Lachey here at tight end and then tackle the quarterback with the next pick.
Yeah. I you know what? Watching film last year on Iowa, I saw a lot of good stuff out of Lachey. I thought he was draft eligible last year, but he was not. So.
And then let's go ahead here again as we go on and we watch this draft. And again, this is PFN's draft board. This is not our draft board.
Right.
So we're basically going on what they say is available. And for me, I have a higher grade than 201 on Curtis Rourke. I love Curtis Rourke. So him being at this spot right here, I feel real comfortable. And Joseph, first off, Joseph Bell in the house. Appreciate you. Everyone who's watching right now, we appreciate you all tuning in. in the comments. We got over 60 plus watching. So if you're watching anywhere other than YouTube, hop on over to YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button. But Joseph says Milroe, yeah. And my first official way too early mock draft, Jalen Milroe in round 2 was my pick. Mason Graham was my first pick. So you and I are on the same page. But here in this mock, we'll go Curtis Work, 6'5", 223. Get him going.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we'll moving on down. Miami's, chilling out, making a barbecue, eating some cookies.
So we got 233 and 252 left.
Yeah, after 226, right? Oops, sorry.
Oh, we got 3 left?
3 left. Yep.
Yeah,
226, 233. So here's when you're thinking about special teams, you're thinking about depth, you're thinking about, So Damian Martinez, the running back out of Miami, is still there. And we did go Ollie Gordon early on.
Is your tight end from, would you say, Bowling Green? He's hopefully, he's gone.
Oh, he's gone. Right? Oh, yeah, he's gone.
Okay.
Gone. He'll probably go in the first or second, early second.
Well, safety. Look at safety. We haven't tackled safety yet, have we?
We have not.
Vanderbilt, Iowa. I just don't know enough about these guys yet.
Yeah, well, the one that I was like, he got taken 2 points. I was going to say, a guy Shiloh. I would take a flyer on is Shiloh. I take a flyer on Shiloh. Let's see.
Or is this where you just go best player available? I don't know. You got 3 picks. Yep. 3 picks left.
There goes Daniel speaking in absolutes again. There's no way we're doing that. People who watch the draft, I don't know how you do that.
Riley Mills, defensive tackle.
Go with Riley Mills.
Yeah.
Yes, Cody Simon is there out of Ohio State.
Oh, we need a linebacker. So, yeah.
Go Cody Simon here.
Yep.
Man, oh man. I am not hating on oh, wait a second.
Popular.
I want to be popular. I've heard that song 1,000 times, but
that's my daughter.
Yeah, my kids too, man. My wife too. Let's see. I was trying. What do we do here? Let's see. Didn't go wide out here. Again, it's hard for me not to look. I'm looking at Damian Martinez out of Miami, the running back. We got Will Shepard out of Colorado sitting right there, 6'3", 198.
Yeah.
Brew McCoy out of Tennessee. Dude, I'm going to let this be you, man. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm looking at Damian Martinez. Dad Dean says Damian Martinez. Damian Guzman says Martinez.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. I mean, you guys have seen him play a lot more than I have. Although Notre Dame will get a good look at that Miami roster first game of the season.
Yeah, and we're going to bust your ass up. No, I'm just... I was rooting for Notre Dame, Catholic.
Yeah. That's a decent squad right there.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, Calvin Banks, he can play tackle and guard. Jack Sawyer, I mean, what he's been able to do and what he is and what you could add to that edge rushing room. Howard Cross, the third for defensive lineman. Ollie Gordon, Danny Stutzman, Luke Lachey, Curtis Work. You don't go receiver. You don't find a receiver. But that's okay. I mean, Miami drafted 2 wide receivers late, and they could probably go for a free agent or if Tyreek stays, for next year.
Yeah.
but kind of play that out. Daniel says, I was there. I think he says, I was there when Saban was there. My thinking is Grimmy on a hot seat. We need immediate impact. Yeah, for sure. No, I think feet on the fire. I think you're 100% right, Daniel. They're going to want players. I get that. And, feet on the fire. But that's also why I think they're going to be aggressive. And aggressive is we can't go into next year with not a decent QB2 or maybe a plan at QB2, So again, it's all in the eye of the beholder. If Miami sees and they watch Jalen Milroe and they're like, damn, at the scouting combine, and it's going to be hard pressed to pass. But like you said, there's other needs, especially impact needs and players that could play game one and help you doing that. But we know Miami, they're probably going to be aggressive in free agency. Hopefully they're aggressive in the draft in regards of how they draft and the type of players they draft. Shout out to Canesware, Breton Canesware. He says, trade our 2025 first round pick, second round pick, plus our next year's pick for a second for Tennessee to draft Cam Ward #1. So there you go. That's from our friends at Canesware. Guys, if you haven't yet, you want that Miami gear, no matter what team, whether it's the Dolphins, the Hurricanes, the Marlins, the Heat, the Panthers, Inter Miami, go check out canesware.com. If you're in the Miami area, it is 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida. Amazing merchandise there. There's no more Alabama quarterbacks, please. I don't look at the school. I look at the player. I look at the player and his play and his stature and everything else. You think, looking at school. No more of this guy because he went to this school. No, look at the player. Because Jalen Hurts went to Alabama. A lot of people are probably saying no more Tennessee quarterbacks, even though Peyton Manning was a Tennessee quarterback. But you look at what Joe Milton did for the Patriots for the short time he was in there. If you were with Alabama, I don't know how you could pass on Milroe. I only saw him against LSU play, and he blasted the Tigers. It's not just that too. I mean, you saw what he could do, but I just watching his film. I mean, he's there's stuff you got to work on, but that raw talent and what he could possibly do for you if and when Tua goes down, you're not drafting the starter at that point. But if Tua goes down, you plug and play this kid, and you see what you got in him. We saw what Tyler Huntley did with that type of team. But for Sea Devils, right, you still go look for a veteran quarterback. But you do, if Milroe's sitting there, don't pass on him, or don't hate on him if they get him. That's all I'll say. Don't hate on him if they get him. I'm not saying for sure. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, guys, let's not hate on that pick if it was the pick, because I think the kid has a lot of upside, whether if that's a backup or someone who comes in, checks in, and could light it up, whether through the air or on the ground, always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl. Plug and play. But anyway, Coach Vogel's looks like his phone either died or his internet finally gave up on him. But we appreciate that he was able to be on for as long as he did. Of course, Wingate pulling husband duty. I understand that. But it's going to be interesting. We all have our opinions and where we want Miami to go and what to do. And like I was saying to Fish Tank yesterday, I just love the draft. It's like, it is like every year, even though we're disappointed with how the season ended, it's like Christmas is coming up and we're going to open surprises. So we're all very excited about what's to come. Who should we get? Oh my gosh, I really hope I get this. And I got this. And either you're happy Christmas morning or you're disappointed. I was always happy. I always try to be happy, grateful for whatever I got, so that's probably why I am the way I am. But guys, I got to say, I'm grateful for all you all who are tuning in and on this journey with us. Scotty and Daniel in the house, as always, Dad Dean, another year, another draft. So much to do, so little time. I am currently on offensive lineman. I've looked at Calvin Banks, Riot Millen, Real Campbell, Josh Simmons, Cam Williams, Jonah, and I'm going to get into Josh Connerly. And we're trying to do like 10 to 12 at a time. of these positions. Wingate has it perfect in regards of how we're looking at this. We're looking at average players drafted from that position. So we're scouting those average numbers of players drafted. And then after we get done with that roundabout number that should give us up to 100 or whatever, we'll go back and look at more players. So, as we get that list coming in, and we'll go ahead and release our first draft guide, you guys will see that top 100 or whatever. And I would love if you guys would say, hey, if we didn't see somebody or you don't see their names there, doesn't mean we haven't seen them. But if you don't see it, I would love if you threw a name out there. Hey, Bobby, watch this guy. Tell me what you think. Because it's like 500 whatever players, and I would love to see. I mean, I love finding hidden gems. So, anyway, we're about to wrap this up. I appreciate everybody who's tuned in with us. On behalf of Coach Vogel and Josh Wingate, who wasn't here but is working behind the scenes. He wanted to be here today, just went by him. But guys, we are working on it again. Like I said, I mean, this is all draft. So when I'm not working or not with the fam or not doing other draft football content on FTSN, I am scouting. I am doing this draft in the Senior Bowl. I am so looking forward to going there eventually. I was hoping to go there this season. That looks unlikely with some of the stuff that's come up. I did get credentials, which is I'm so excited about that. I was able to get credentialed to get to the Senior Bowl. It's such a cool opportunity. Just car issues, whatever. Won't be able to make it, but I will be obviously following it with the plan to go next year with the group, with the guys. And so, anywho, we appreciate you all watching. I'll be back on later this afternoon at 6 p.m. Eastern time to recap Saturday night main event for WWE on No Holds Barred with Josh Kimmel. And then, of course, guys, just Dolphins, NFL, NBA, baseball content, draft content all throughout the week. We don't stop here on FTSN. I appreciate you guys. I really do. Like and subscribe. And always, Dolphin fans, even when it's hard,